How's it going, guys? Luke and James here, back with another Trading Couch video. Today we're going to be answering some of our followers' questions. So just like a Q&A, we have 4 questions that we have picked out as we believe they are the most important, and we feel like they will help explain us and what we do, and give you a bit of an insight and share some knowledge as well.
So the first question on our list is, what is trading? So obviously this is quite a broad question, but I'm assuming they're referencing it to what we do. So trading the foreign exchange market. So trading, obviously this is something that's happened throughout all times. Trade a goat for some gold, whatever it might have been. So for us, foreign exchange, we're pretty much just trading one currency for another. So we're either buying into one currency against another or selling one currency against another.
So just to add a bit of context to what James said, it's quite simply just buying a currency against another one or selling one currency to another one. We do this over the counter, or it says over the counter, but we're actually able to do this from our phones, on computers. Moving over to technology, we're actually able to do that, which is great. And we do trade the spot market. The spot market is basically live prices. So prices are constantly changing. It's not, you'd place a trade, then you would, like a pending order almost, and price would have to tap into that before taking its move down or up. We are trading the spot market, so the value of these currencies are constantly changing.
Yeah. These changes that we're seeing every single day are so minuscule. Like, you couldn't walk into the post office and say, Christ, that's like 10% up from yesterday. It's volatile, but I don't know how you'd word it.
It's weird, isn't it?
The movements are very up and down, but within a very limited range. So it's always going to hold like a base value because economies have to stay stable. So there's never crazy movements, but it's never just one large move up, one large move down. It's constantly up and down throughout the day, which is what gives markets volatility, because people are constantly buying, people are constantly selling. There's never 100% of people looking at that market all buying or all selling. So
exactly that.
And you've always got the battle between the two.
And I think you've got to remember and imagine that when you're buying, because your bias is to buy into that pair, someone might be actually holding a sell position from time ago. You know what I mean? Or someone might be looking to sell into that pair and have a longer term bias. So like James said, these markets are constantly fluctuating and constantly moving up and down, and quite rightly said, they are within a very small change in price. Now, when we look at the Forex markets, we are looking at pips, so points in percentage, and these points in percentages could be 5-6 decimals long. So these changes in price, as James said, are very, very minuscule. But because we are affiliated with brokers and we work with brokers, we trade through brokers, we have something called leverage. Now, leverage allows us to buy large amounts of these currencies, large amounts of units. So for every, a 0.01 lot size, for example, is 1,000 units. Someone with a small trading account using reasonable risk could probably trade that amount. Me with a larger account size, I am trading with maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 lots. We're talking 100,000, 2, 3, 400,000 units of this currency, of this pair. So those changes do add up due to that leverage and due to the mass that you're buying in, basically.
Number 2 on the list. Tell us what it is, Luke.
So question number 2 is tips on creating my own business. Now, I think, I don't think there is a wrong or a right answer with this. Well, I suppose there is wrong answers, isn't there? But
it's all opinion based, really.
Yeah, but tips on creating a business. I mean, for me, I think consistency is the very first tip. That's what comes to my mind is consistency. I think with anything, you just have to be consistent.
I think what helps with that is, if you're going to make a business out of something, make sure you fucking love it. Make sure it's a passion.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Because if you love what you do, you are going to have that consistency. You're going to enjoy doing it, and therefore you are going to provide the necessary work that you need to. I think before you start a business, you need to have a trading plan in place. A business plan in place. Going back to Forex.
But yeah,
a business
that Forex related. Take
I know,
a break
yeah.
from it, son.
I know.
Have a
Yeah.
day off.
Yeah, no. A business plan is definitely needed. I was actually speaking to a friend the other day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I want to open a cafe, and I want to do this, this, and the other." And I said, "Well, the first thing you need to do is actually create a business plan. So work out your costs, work out your time, work out exactly what it is that you need, set some goals, and go from there, I guess."
Oh yeah, I mean the last thing you said, setting goals, that's huge. You need to know, because it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart.
Yeah.
I would take working 4 hours of smart work over 12 hours of just hard work, because if you don't have those goals in place and you have no idea what it is you're working towards, how can you put in the correct work to get there? So like you said, if you want to open a cafe, first things first, well, where do you want to open it?
Yeah.
Make sure the location is in the most optimal position.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you just imagine there's a Wainwright's Peak in the Lake District, right? So at the bottom of this peak, open a cafe. Everybody's going to walk past that.
Exactly.
They're going to be hungry. They're going to be thirsty.
Exactly. Well, there's a business idea for someone. But no,
it's just thinking about little things like that.
Yeah. So I think first and foremost is consistency. Enjoy what you're doing, like James said. Ensure that you have a business plan in place. You have all of your costs, all of your time, areas, all the things that you need in order to actually create and generate this business.
And work smart, not work hard.
Yeah,
smart,
exactly that, and stick to it as well. I mean, I know so many people that have gone on to start things and they've come to hurdles and they've had setbacks, and that's just been their cue to leave, basically.
Yeah.
If I had left or forgotten about LAGFX and this business from the setbacks that I've had, I would have left a long time ago. Genuinely, you know what I mean? The amount of setbacks we've had, even with us working together, we've had some setbacks, and there has been times where you do go through difficult stages, and it's about working through it. And I think actually getting through that and carrying on is what builds you into the person.
Like this question gets asked so many times. You see it on so many podcasts, so many videos, and I agree what they all say in terms of like you have to be okay with not being profitable for years.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with putting in the work, putting in the hours when there is no results, and just having that blind faith that it's going to work out. Not even referencing to online businesses, because it just says my own business. I know a couple people who run like stores or their own business that's not online, and they say the same thing, like it's just years of work, and you have to be willing to sacrifice that. So most importantly, have some funds.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it might sound crazy to actually do that. Like when you say it, like have blind faith. Like if someone said to you, right, I want you to continuously work on this thing with no actual guarantee of it working out, you'd be like, you're crazy. You know what I mean? But like you said before, if it's your passion and you enjoy it, take the risk. You know what I mean? And go for it. Don't let those setbacks like put you off. So yeah. I mean,
if it starts off as a hobby first, it's going to be 10 times easier to make it into a job. But third question here, how much do you make per week? I mean, this is a big one.
Yeah.
If people are nosy, and Forex is seen as get rich quick, so the first thing that comes to mind, how much are you making?
Yeah, it's a very commonly asked question. And like James said, people just presume that because we work within the foreign exchange market and this is what we do, that we're like millionaires,
and that we'll be open about it. So I think the way I'm going to answer this question is, we ourselves only ever look at equity as percentage rather than a monetary value. So my very general answer is going to be, we would aim for anywhere between 0 to 10% every week.
Yeah.
Obviously the higher end being an amazing week, the lower end, obviously we can lose some weeks, don't get me wrong, but it's more about looking over a larger time frame, months, years.
Yeah, so as James said, some days, some weeks you might be up, Some days, some weeks you might be down. So yeah, on average we aim for about 10% a week, which, you know, if we are making 10% every single week, that's 40% in a month. That's an amazing month. Yeah, I mean, what we can do is we can throw up some profit sheets now on screen so you can see some good trades, and then we'll throw up some profit sheets as well showing off some bad trades. And then how they average out as well. I'll show you my monthly profit sheet so you can see exactly what we're looking at. Yeah, so with that information, you can see that yes, we are making good money, but at the same time, there are chances that we can lose a good amount of money.
Yeah.
So it's about averaging out. Yeah, so there is no real answer to it. In my opinion, there's no real answer. You know, a normal 9 to 5, you are on a set wage. I could make £5,000 on one trade. I could make £1,000 on another trade, or I could lose £500 on a trade. So there is no real answer. But on average, 10% is what we aim for, and I think that's more than achievable, providing we put the work in. So yeah. Yeah, so moving on to the last question. How long does it take to become a competent trader?
That's a good question.
Now, in all honesty, I think it's down to your intellect and how intelligent you are, how quickly you can learn skills and pick up things. For me, it probably took about 2 years, in all honesty. If you don't know my backstory, I had a bad run with some Instagram traders who claim to, you know, have made it in this field, have the knowledge that they had. I obviously blew my account multiple times. From that, I then took time to learn myself independently through YouTube videos, seminars, books, etc. And that period was about 2 years. Then, from then onwards, I would say I kind of saw some consistency with my trades. So yeah, 2 years for me. But as I said, it can vary and range dependent on who you are as a person. I know you are a very quick learner, so you know your experience was a little bit less prolonged, should we say? But yeah, I mean, give your say.
I mean, it's tough. It's another question where you can't really put a set answer, but I think at least a year, at the very least, you are spending a year learning
100%.
before you get competent, because that's the main word in there, is competence.
Yeah.
So thinking back to when I did it, it was something I was learning on the side of other things. So it wasn't me saying, right, I'm dedicating all my time into this. So, you know, maybe the first 6 months from the very first day I was introduced to Forex by you, you know, it wasn't hard work, but it was you getting in calls with me and teaching me the bare basics to introduce me to the world. But then once I really put my head down and pretty much made learning a full-time thing.
Yeah.
I learned a very good amount within 6 months. So obviously just comparing the 2 6-month periods there, the first one where I was just doing it on the side, wasn't fully interested, learnt very little, and then 6 months of going at it hard, learnt a lot. So I'd say give yourself at least a year to get anywhere near competent.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the harder you work, the more time you put in.
Yeah.
You know, genetically, how intelligent you are obviously plays a part. But
And I think the first 6 months you'll find will be the hardest, because that is it's like learning a new language. I look at Forex as like a new language, but the first 6 months definitely I would say are the hardest, because it's like any new skill that you learn. As soon as you've kind of been, you know, you've been doing it for 6 months, you've been learning for 6 months, you kind of are starting to understand and pick things up, you know, pick up that routine and the niches within this. And then I think things do become easier.
To be honest, I think it's like one hurdle after another at start.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, the first 6 months is the hardest, but once you sort of climb past this point, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the images. It's like you get to the top, you think you're done, and then you look up again, and you've still got another 1,000 yards to climb. It's like just when you think you're getting good, something will knock you straight back down. You're like, wow, I've got a whole other thing to
bring you back to earth. Like, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, no.
There's always more to learn. There's always mini mistakes you'll make that you can learn from, and I don't think you should ever have the mindset of like, I don't need to become better or learn more.
Yeah, and I think that's the mistake that like some people make, and I'll be completely honest. I have fallen into that trap myself a few times. I have seen great success with the strategy I'm using, the way I'm trading, and it's like, you know, I kind of haven't taken the time and the energy to propel my knowledge within this field even further, because, you know, in my eyes, I've not made it by no means. I don't feel like I've made it in this industry, but I feel like I am educated enough to do well in this field. And as you rightly said, you know, you come up to a hurdle and you'll have a really bad trading week, and you're like, oh my god, what have I done wrong? And you go to recap and you're like, oh my god, I've made this mistake, I've made this mistake, I've made this mistake. And it's about learning from those mistakes. And as you said, and as I've just said, you know, I think it's important to constantly be learning, constantly reminding yourself and educating yourself in this field. It's something that there's just too much to know. Honestly, you think that you know a lot, and you think that you know everything, and you soon quickly realise that you don't. But things do get easier, 100%. Like, I can't deny that things get harder. I mean, the more you know, the easier things get, and I think the more it just becomes second nature. It's a part of your routine, you know. So
yeah, I mean, to me, becoming competent, getting to the point of competence after you've learned, is all about consistency and routine. I think to tie it up, like the most important thing and the biggest thing that helped me with profitability was trading at the same time, sticking to a select couple markets, and just having the same daily routine, and just make all outside variables non-existent.
Yeah, I think it's just down to who you are as a person, and the time that you dedicate to learning this field of work.
Yeah, spot on. So thank you for sending in the questions, for starters. It has been fun just recapping on some of these and giving our take. But regardless, I hope you've enjoyed. It's been myself and Luke on the Trading Couch. We will see you in 2 weeks on the next Friday when we're here again.